Hello, everyone. This is Debra Richardson, and today I am putting the AP in Happy, where accounts payable teams are empowered to protect the vendor master file from fraud. This podcast will give a voice to accounts payable team members by talking about the growing reality of cyber attacks in their world and which vendor setup and vendor management techniques they can apply to protect the vendor master file from fraud. Need training? Visit the Vendor Process Training Center to enroll in your choice of weekly live and on-demand training sessions. Plus, get access to vendor setup form templates and reference tools that will help you and your team avoid fraud, fines, and bad vendor data. So sign up for a free account to get access to free training sessions, vendor process FAQs, and a resource library with information you need to manage your vendor master file. Visit training.debrarrichardson.com today. The link will be in the show notes. Did you know that the IRS has working group meetings for the Information Returns Intake System, or IRIS? To find out 3 things I learned when I attended, what the IRS said fire users should do now, and how you can attend the next one, keep listening. Welcome to episode 350. 3 things I learned from attending the IRIS working group meeting and how you can attend the next one. All right, so most of you should already know that IRIS, or the Information Returns Intake System, is currently one of 2 e-filing programs provided by the IRS. The other one is the FIRE system. Now, IRIS is the most recent e-filing system from the IRS. FIRE, however, has been a legacy system. This is the one that I started off with when I was a practitioner. And it is the filing information returns electronically. And so that's what FIRE stands for. And again, it's been around forever. And when I was a practitioner, and I believe I've said it before on this podcast, but again, back when I was a practitioner, we had 140,000 active vendors across 7 different ERPs. And so that translated into about 30,000, anywhere really from 24,000 to 30,000 1099s and 1042s that we had to file. And of course, we use the FIRE system for that. But the IRS has announced that tax year 2025 will be the last year for the FIRE system. It will retire as of December 31st, 2026, which means when you go to file in January 2027 for tax year 2026, you're going to be using IRIS if you're going to be using the IRS's e-filing option. And so because of that, it's really important that if you haven't gotten to know IRIS, it's time to start doing that. And what I really like about the IRS is that they've actually been having these working group meetings all year. It started back in January. Actually, the first one was January 15, 2025 of the year, and it goes on at least once every month. And so I attended yesterday's meeting, which was August 5th, and they do plan on having additional meetings. Now, during the meeting, she did say that it was going to be later this month, but it looks like they have one per month at some point in the first week or the second week of the month. And so check the show notes. I'm going to put the link to the IRIS working group meetings and notes page from the IRS site. And then that way you can not only register for the most current meeting that they have, which, by the way, is set for Wednesday, August 20th. So it is already set. I just went to that website like just now, and it is set for Wednesday, August 20th. So I'm going to put a link to that page in the show notes so you can sign up for the next meeting. And then you can also look at some previous notes from the previous meetings, which I will say the July meeting doesn't have it. It does have the slides, but the June meeting has both the slides in PDF form from the meeting, but it also has Q&As from the meeting as well. And so does the other one. So I don't know if they just didn't have any for July. I'm sure that's not it. That wasn't it. But the August 5th meeting, they don't have that PDF there, and they don't have the questions from that meeting up yet either. So again, I'm going to put the link in the show notes, and you can keep checking if you want to see the latest PDF and also the questions from August. Now, I will say too that the later you can check the slides for the PDF, the more information they will have, because every month they have more information about what's coming. And so you'll want to make sure that you either attend the latest meeting or always check for the latest PDF. All right, so that's how you can kind of make sure you keep up to date on that. Also, they will tell you in the PDFs that Quick Alerts, which is one of the IRS's e-news subscriptions that you can sign up for, they say that's the best way that you can keep up to date with what the IRS is doing. That is the subscription that they used to announce that the fire system was being retired. And so I'm going to give you a link to, in the show notes, a link to a video, vendor master file tip of the week. It's a video I do on my YouTube channel, and I walk through how to sign up for their e-news subscription. So make sure you check that in the show notes. Okay, so that is it for kind of the updates there. I do want to tell you that at the end, I'm going to talk about what the IRS says that the fire system users need to do now. So if you are a fire system user and you have not yet gone into or explored the IRIS system or got access to it, make sure that you listen at the end for what the IRS says you need to do now. All right. So let's talk about the three things I learned from attending the IRIS working group meeting. And again, I attended that on Wednesday, no, not Wednesday, but Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. The next one is coming up. They are 90 minutes, by the way. And at the end, you can ask questions. They don't have your, you don't have the ability to unmute yourself. You also can't use your camera, but they do make available the chat feature where you can put your questions in. And they did say they would stay on 15 more minutes in order to answer those questions. But it looks like from prior meetings and what they've posted on that page that I'm going to give you a link to is they posted all the questions and then put the responses in there. So, maybe they answered more questions afterwards. But anyway, all right, so let's talk about the three things that I learned as I attended this working group meeting. So the first thing I learned is that the 1042S will be available in IRIS for tax year 2025 and forward. And for those of you that filed a 1042S last year, if you e-filed it, you had to e-file it in the fire system. For tax year 2025, you will file in IRIS. Now, the second thing I learned, and this is really big too, because if you filed in IRIS last year or since it's been available, you know that if you had really a choice of how to enter your vendor's information in. You can manually enter it, or you can upload it via a CSV template that the IRS provided. Now, the template itself was limited to 100 records. Doesn't mean that that's all you could process. I mean, you can upload multiple CSV templates, but on each template, it was restricted to 100 or limited to 100 records. Well, beginning January 2026 for tax year 2025, that amount will increase from 100 to 250. So less files that you have to upload. All right, so that was the second thing. Now, the third thing that I learned going back or sticking with the CSV templates is that the IRS says that the biggest error for CSV templates was that records were combining tax years and form types on the same file. Now, the requirements is that you can have only one tax year and only one form type per file. Now, yes, it is in the instructions, but I know not everyone reads the instructions. And so part of what they talked about in the working group meeting in the presentation was they had a list of the common errors that they see on the CSV template, and that was the biggest one. And by the way, too, they did identify or talk about the fact that your file can error out and you may not know why. And so if that happens to you, make sure you check to number one, maybe keep that page from the presentation or document it somewhere so that if you do have an error on the CSV template and it doesn't tell you, you can check those common errors out. And it could be, right, the biggest one is that you've combined tax years and or form types on one file. All right, so those were the three things. One, the 1042S will be available in IRIS for tax year 2025 and forward. The IRS CSV template is being increased from 100 records to 250 records beginning January 2026. And the biggest error for CSV templates is combining tax years and form types on one file. Now, lastly, let's get to what the IRS says fire system users need to do now. And that is you need to get a TCC, and that is a transmitter control code. Now, those codes are not interchangeable between the fire system and IRIS. You have to have one for each. And those of you that use both IRIS and fire in the same tax year, you know that because you had to get a separate TCC for IRIS. And so those of you that haven't yet, just know you will not be able to use your fire TCC or transmitter control code in IRIS. You need to get a new one. And there's no time like the present. It won't hurt to get one now. And so that is what the IRS is urging everyone that needs to get onto the IRIS system to get registered, that you need to get a TCC. And so that is what they're saying that you need to do now. That is it for today. So thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the 350th episode of the Putting the AP in Happy podcast, where accounts payable teams are empowered to protect the vendor master file from fraud. Don't forget to check the show notes for the links mentioned in the podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing and writing a review of my podcast on the platform that you use to listen. Stay happy.